TGIFF. Not an episode. I'm just saying it's Friday evening and I'm happy to be home. And I have to get this episode up by Sunday. I am not cooking tonight. Well, I mean, I'm cooking. I'm making some ragu, pork necks, meatballs, chicken sausage. I got some nice pomodoro di San Marzano. So I'm going to make some nice sauce, but that's for tomorrow. But here's what I'm going to do. You hear me talking all the time about the pantry, importance of pantry, and we're getting here close to winter. I actually turned the heat on for the first time a couple of mornings ago just to take the edge off. So what I'm going to do tonight, it's long overdue. I'm going to pull out the entire pantry, get rid of stuff that's obsolete, clean it up, reorganize it, and put it all back. And what happens then is I know what I need to replace, what new stuff I want to get. Let's take a quick peek behind the pantry door. Come on, let's do it.
Come on, let's do it.
All right, here we go. So this is the main pantry. As you can see, it's fallen into quite a bit of disarray. Cans on top of cans, things on top of things. Goes to the top there. And of course, we've discussed the old prepper shelf. As you can see, it's getting pretty sparse. So it's time to start beefing things up. So I'm going to pull everything out, bring it to the dining room table. We'll look through it all, tidy it up, put it back, and make a list for shopping. I'll see you all at the dining room table. I'm going to go ahead and empty this. All right, let the fun begin. I cleaned out the entire pantry behind the door and the prepper shelf down on the way to the basement. And I didn't show you this in the beginning of the show, but also the little pull-out cart that's to the right of the stove. I keep things in there that I use at the stove, non-perishable, soy sauce, things like this, vinegars. So I've got everything on the table here. I'm not going to go through every item with you. I'd be here all night. But let me give you an over-the-shoulder view, and we'll start going through a few of these things. Come on. Let's do it.
Come on, let's do it.
So, what do we have here? I've got my paper towels. I've got a damp sponge, wipe off cans, etc. To the right of me here, I have a chair where I can put items that want to go back in, because what I'm going to do is off camera after we're done, I won't subject you folks to this, but I need to vacuum, sponge down all the shelves. There's cobwebs, there's, big clean out. I do it a couple of times a year. So let's start with the obvious. Well, that's not the obvious, that's my Jim Beam, TGIFF. Let's start with the pastas, because they just have a shelf of their own. I've got, obviously, linguine is a staple. Bucatini, that's for tomorrow, with the meat sauce, which is on the stove right now and is awesome. Always have plenty of penne rigate. It's possibly my favorite pasta. A couple of extra lasagna noodles here, ranzoni, 3 noodles. I don't even know why I have these. I'll have to come up with something creative with those, because I'm obviously not making a tray of lasagna. Some ditalini, good for the winter, chicken soups. Although, if I make a chicken soup, really, I have to honor my grandma with the agini di pepe. That's for the chicken soup. Ditalini is more for like pasta e fagioli, things like this. All right, so those are the pastas once I clean the shelves. Peanut butter, which I don't keep around a lot. I just picked this up recently. I wanted it for something, and I should keep it around more. Good protein. And of course, this one is just dry roasted peanut salt. That's all I'll keep. Check for sugar. Do not get peanut butter with sugar. This is, I think, breadcrumbs. Yeah, and these are stale. These have been around since the Stone Age probably. So garbage. I'll keep the container. Let's see. Let's move along. Coffee beans. I have an airtight container that I keep the whole beans in. This is the backup that I fill that from. So those will go back in the pantry. And then what do we have in here airtight? I keep a few airtights around. Let's see what's in those. Here's Bill's. These should be in an airtight. These are Bill's tea bags. He actually picked these up and brought them here because he does not drink coffee. So, I mean, I like the occasional cup of tea. It was a big thing when we were kids with grandma, tea and toast. But I don't drink a lot of tea, honestly. But if we do Sunday morning rehearsal, I'm pounding coffee. He has his cup of tea. So those are Bill's. Airtight. This one has wakame, seaweed. We have katsuobushi. Oh, I have some miso. It's time for some miso soup. So that's a good little airtight container. So those will go back on the shelf once it's sponged down. Another airtight. This is brown sugar. That goes back in. Here's an airtight. What do we have in here? I have my 5 pounds of sugar. Basically, I buy these for the hummingbirds. I try to keep it out of my system, but I can't drink coffee without sugar. I go through my bouts of getting the whole cane sugar from Mother Earth, and I can't do. I do have some. I tried the stevia. I can't do it. I can't do any artificial sweeteners. This is here for guests, in case they want it. But I succumb to this in my coffee unless I keep the organic or the raw sugar around. But I keep this for the hummingbirds, and they're leaving for the season now. They may be gone already. The coveted gochugaru. This is the Korean red pepper powder for making kimchi and myriad other uses. So nice airtight. So all these are going aside. What do we have here? Some corn husks. It's almost tamale season. These look pretty good and fresh. It's an unopened package. These, I don't know how long these have been in this bag. I'm going to toss these in the compost. I'm going to just break down. Okay, so those will go on the floor here. That's stuff that's going to go in the compost. Zhaojing wine, priceless. Got a good batch left before I need to renew. Put that over here. What's in here? This is salt. I'm calling this yolk salt. This is from when I did the salt cured egg yolks. So it did have yolks, touching it. I don't think it's nasty or anything, but what I'll use this for is various non-culinary uses, because it did touch the egg yolks. Kombu, priceless. Dashi, some salted black beans. The canned goods, always good to have some clam juice around. You want to make a quick clam sauce or Bloody Mary. These things are fantastic. These Baltic sea sprats. Always good to have a little canned fish, protein. Along the same lines, my tuna, some crab meat. What's this? Curry paste, some Thai curry paste. Good to have around. I'll have to make something soon with the curry paste and fermented black beans. Of course, tomatoes. Plenty of tomatoes. Beans, I got tons of beans, and what I'm going to do with all these canned goods now is I've got to start going through them and checking expiration dates. There's plenty of expired stuff there. So what I'll do is I'll open those probably in the morning, dump them in the compost. Chickens will go nuts on them, and I'll get rid of the cans. Got a bunch of vinegars. One which I apparently put the wrong top on, because this is not the top. That's a white wine vinegar, red wine vinegar, which is just about done. And I noticed this when I pulled it out. Here's a red wine vinegar, but it was hiding on me. And it looked like it had a little bit of sediment. Vinegar basically has a good shelf life. I don't know. I might toss this and get a new one. It's just a cheap Cento. It's not anything, not like some aged balsamic. So I think I'm going to dump this and get a new red wine vinegar. Soy sauce, of course. Fish sauce. Rice vinegar. Balsamic. Not an aged, just a shelf balsamic. Distilled white vinegar. This is basically for doing pickles and stuff. And I also have my pickling salt, my pickling lime. That'll all go back. There's a shelf for that in there. Rice. I do need to get some rice. Here's a little bit of sushi rice. Some carnaroli. Risotto. This is my preferred rice. Arborio's fine, but I prefer carnaroli for risottos. More tomatoes. Here's an unopened Worcestershire, molasses, and then there's all the spices. Here's an unopened capers. That's good to have. Now, all right, I think we've done enough. Various spices, chili powder. I have to go through these, sniff them for age, see if they're fresh. A lot of stuff's going to get thrown out, but this is my pantry, all right? Very key. I talk about it a lot. Because as I've mentioned in many episodes, your pantry is the heart of your kitchen, all right? You get home from a hard day's work, you're not sure what you want to eat, you just want to throw something together, you haven't quite planned a meal. The pantry is going to inform what you want to do, along with the freezer, right? The refrigerator. Go into the produce drawer. Oh, I've got a head of lettuce. Go into the freezer. Hey, here's some Gulf shrimp. I can thaw those out pretty quick. Then you go into the pantry. Gulf shrimp, lettuce. Let's see. Ooh, maybe I'll do an Asian stir fry. Shred up my lettuce and throw them over. So the pantry is key. Mine tends to go into disarray over a matter of months, but a couple of times a year, I like to do this. Lay everything out. Go through it one by one, wipe stuff down. This stuff's actually all pretty good. I didn't really need to wipe much down. There's a few bottles that could use a wiping, but everything's in pretty good shape. And then I throw out what's obsolete, neatly put everything back on the shelves, which we'll get to. You'll see that. And then that shows me what I want to restock, gives me ideas in the noodle about maybe I want to add something new. And the pantry. So I'm going to clean it up. I've got to get the vacuum out. I've got to get the sponge out, get all those shelves cleared, cleaned, put everything back in order, and I'll give you a little final peek of the pantry. Saturday morning, y'all. I got her done. Let's have a look-see. We'll start down here, prepper shelf. As you can see, pretty slim pickings. So this is why this exercise is crucial for me, because it shows me, it not only organizes and helps clear my head out. This stuff's kind of behind the door here, stuff that I'm not going to reach for frequently, but it's stored away. Likewise up there, those corn husks are way in the back. Getting ready to make a bunch of tamales soon. And things that I didn't realize I had this coffee. I mean, I almost never buy ground coffee. It's just a cheap Hannaford. I must have been out of beans and stepping through and just grabbed them. So I didn't even know I had those. So this exercise is good. Airtight. All my canned fish and canned goods up here. Pastas were all over the place. Now they're a little organized. I can see which ones I have, which ones I want. And I went through, here's another thing, shopping. I needed celery salt for a recipe. Little did I know I already had some. That's an awful lot of celery salt. It's a lot of Bloody Marys right there. So as you can see, I tossed a lot of stuff. So this is a great exercise. Now I can sit down, make myself a shopping list, fill up the empty holes, and you'll never stop hearing me touting about the pantry. We'll see you for the next episode.
Come on, let's do it.
And that's our pantry overhaul for late 2023. Treat your pantry fine. It'll give back like you wouldn't believe.